Welcome into the Eagle Communications Sports Update right here on HutchPost.com. High school, college, pro, we keep you in the know. As always, alongside me, Glen Grunwald, I am Daren Dunn. Of course, we're going to look through your HCC sports, and it all starts with the Blue Dragon football, undefeated yet on the season, 8-0, taking down Highland 58-35 after a record-setting first half of scoring 52 points. Glen, what a first half it was, even though Alvin Kamara was held in check.
Yeah, but that's just good. They got so many other weapons other than just Kamara. Alvin's a great one, but you got Autry, and he was able to be basically he stole the show this weekend, at least this weekend, for Hutchinson. And they got so many weapons, Daren. That's the good thing about that. When you hold down one, you got another one you can go to.
Anthony Autry, 3 touchdowns on just 8 receptions. Of course, Jawan Dickey gets 2 touchdowns off of 2 catches. So the passing game we've been calling for really kind of opened up against Highland when it had to, because the leading rushers, Torrey Smith and Braden Smith, each had 41 yards apiece. Really had to open up that passing game when you're talking about an HCC team that averages 300 yards on the ground, being held by the Scotties to just 139.
Yeah, it seemed like the Scotties were basically just saying, hey, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to beat us through the airways. We're not going to let you get on the ground, because they stacked the box on just about every occasion. But again, like I said, other weapons that they have. And 52.5, a new record. The second half was a little bit different, though.
The second half was completely different. After that extraordinary first half, the HCC Blue Dragons experienced some second half woes.
I was disappointed, that we didn't come out and punch it in a couple of times in the second half. That just gave them confidence. I think they were able to stop us a few times, and we stopped ourselves a couple of times, and we got a bunch of backup guys in, and next thing you know, they score one, and they score another one, and just kind of got goofy. And we're trying to keep our starters on the bench and rest them a little bit and be smart with them health-wise, and at the same time felt like the game was, out of hand, but it got close, I guess got within 17 points at one point. Those are hard, and really we got to do better on that. I definitely don't like the way the second half went, but be a learning experience. Hopefully we'll do better down the road.
And the important concept here now is play a complete game. That's what the Blue Dragons will have to do. Now, granted, coach is going to say, okay, we put in some second stringers. Alvin Kamara didn't even play in the second half. He was kind of favoring that left arm. They shut him down early after just 8 carries and those 39 yards. He did score a touchdown. Didn't see him in the second half. Saw a lot of Torrey Smith, a lot of Braden Smith and some different things. And you saw, I guess through the first half, a lot from the quarterbacks. 4 touchdowns from Demas, 2 from Kalen Ben. Some critical errors in the beginning that the Blue Dragons didn't let get to them. But you really want to see them put together a complete game regardless of who's in.
Well, we touched base. You brought that up on Countdown to Kickoff. It's like we're still waiting for that complete 4 quarters. And I think you're going to get it sooner or later. And hopefully it comes possibly this weekend. They got a big matchup coming up.
It has to come this weekend against Iowa Western as the Blue Dragons are on the road. Both teams 8-0, number 2 and number 5 in the nation respectively. Last week, though, Iowa Western puts in their backup quarterback and still gets the victory over College of DuPage, 65-27. So it'll be interesting to see which quarterback will play in the game for Iowa Western. However, the Blue Dragons will have to be prepared for both. The big thing, Hutch cannot beat Hutch. Coach Rhodes knows this concept all too well.
It's going to take a great effort on our part. We've got to do a good job of, not doing anything that's going to hurt ourselves, and we've got to just be opportunistic. I think in any big game, that's what it comes down to, and we've just got to do a good job of not giving them anything easy and taking care of the football.
Iowa Western, a spectacular team. Average win on the season, 32 points. You compare that to HCC, average win by 25. A couple of juggernauts going throat to throat.
Yeah, and with Mississippi Gulf Coast losing this weekend, we should move up to number 4 for sure. Maybe even better than that with the big win over Highland. But I don't think they look at those scores so much. If that was the case, East Mississippi wouldn't still be on top. But we'll just have to see what will happen. But it looks to me like it's going to be 4 versus number 2, and it's going to be a barn burner up in Council Bluffs.
Of course, number 3, Mississippi Gulf Coast falling to Copiah Lincoln 29-26. Quite the upset there in the top 5. We move now to your other HCC sports. Here's a look at what happened with volleyball and soccer. On to high school football. The Hutch High Salt Hawks now 3-4 after a convincing 62-14 victory over the Buffaloes of Garden City. Big game from Blake Middleton. Of course, Todd Middleton, his father, the defensive line coach for HCC. 5 touchdowns, just 11 touches, 268 yards of offense.
He is a tremendous running back, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. Hopefully it's close to home, as they'll travel to Dodge City this next week. That's his former school, so they travel to Dodge. Big win over Garden, and you couple that with a big win by Wichita Northwest over Dodge City, and now district play has started. Boy, some of the scores just really surprised me this weekend. The Bueller score, several other scores just really jumped out at me this last Friday night.
Lots of scores to get to. Hutch High now 3-4, as Glen mentioned, on the road against the 4-3 Demons. Looking over to Bueller, now winners of 6 straight. Very convincing win over Hayes. Undefeated Hayes, they get that victory 55-21. Crusaders now 6-1. Upcoming, they will be against McPherson on the road to the Bullpups, who are 4-0 in district play. Of course, Trinity continues its spectacular season. That's a 33-22 victory over Garden Plain. Upcoming, they will travel down the road to Kingman, taking on the 6-1 Eagles. Some other scores around the area. Flint Hills Christian scores 100 to Hutchinson Central Christian 76. Glen, that was just 12-8 after the first quarter. The Cougars 0-6. Still winless on the year. Next, they will be at Wichita Homeschool, who is 6-2 on the season. Haven, 41 winners over Clearwater to 20. Haven now 3-4 on the season. Next, they'll be against Trinity Academy, who's 5-2. That game will be played in Wichita. Attica, Argonia, that combo team still doing well. 62 points put up on Pretty Prairie 6. Pretty Prairie falls to 3-4. Next, they will take on 3-4 South Barber. That game in Pretty Prairie. Stafford remains unbeaten with a 78-52 victory over Fairfield. Next, the Trojans will take on 1-6 Buckland. Of course, Fairfield falls to 4-3. Next, they will take on 2-5 Ashland. Now looking on to KU football. The Jayhawks still another loss, but how about a win for Ben Heaney? Despite the 34-21 loss to Texas Tech in Lubbock, Ben Heaney posts a career-high 21 tackles.
Think about that for a second. That is a bunch. And Ben Heaney being looked at now, I projected maybe as a 4th-round pick in the NFL draft, so he's starting. His stock continues to rise, and he's got a few more games to prove his worth.
Well, you definitely think there's a place for somebody like that somewhere. If it's not as a 2-deep or a 3-deep linebacker, you could definitely perhaps find yourself on special teams. Jayhawks will get ready to travel to Waco, so they'll remain in Texas. They're 2-5, taking on the Baylor Bears, who are 6-1. That game will be on November 1st, so still a little bit of time to prepare. How about the Kansas State Wildcats barely getting the victory over the Sooners? That's a 31-30. They almost kicked that game away, and in the case of Oklahoma, they did kick that one away by not making extra points and not making chip shot field goals.
Yeah, but the Cats with a big win, 31-30, like you indicated, maybe takes Oklahoma completely out of the playoff picture with 2 losses. I don't think a team with 2 losses is going to have too much of a chance to getting into that 4-game playoff. That's with the new setup in the NCAA, but still, big win, especially the fact that it was at Norman.
Upcoming, the Wildcats will take on the Longhorns of Texas. That game will be in Kansas State, Bill Snyder Family Stadium. The Longhorns, of course, now 3-4 after a 3-point victory over Iowa State. A bye week does a body good in the case of the Kansas City Chiefs, taking down the AFC West leading Chargers. The Chargers now get their 2nd loss of the season, and that game also came down to a kick. Cairo Santos, the victor there for the Chiefs, to move them back to 500 at 3-3.
I know you're going to talk about the Royals, but right now Kansas City buzzing over that Chiefs victory, and that's a place they haven't won since 2007 is in San Diego. So a nice win right there for the Chefs.
It's been a long time. Now the Chiefs trying to get ready for the unpredictable Rams. I know what you're saying. The Rams are only 2-4. But how about St. Louis jumping out on the Seahawks and taking down your world champion Seahawks this season last week, just a couple of days ago? It all came down to Hecker's fake punt. It looked like the Seahawks would have a chance to come back, and then the Rams close it off with a fake punt and a pass right on the money. So we'll see what the Chiefs can do against the Rams. You never know what they're going to do.
Yeah, with another backup quarterback in there for the Rams doing a good job since Sean Hill's hurt, along with Bradford being hurt. They're getting it done. I was really surprised by that, but the NFL, that's just the way the NFL is. You never know what's going to happen.
No repeat of the '85 World Series because the Cardinals didn't quite make it, but you do get the Royals taking on the San Francisco Giants, getting ready to get that underway. And did you know, a couple of San Francisco radio stations have actually banned the song Royals by Lorde in their area.
Well, we can do the same thing. We can stop the Rice-A-Roni commercial, and we can also stop "I Left My Heart in San Francisco" by Tony Bennett. So they can do that up in the Kansas City areas anyway. So a little superstitious there, but hey, we got the special weapon from South Korea coming. Sue Wynn is going to be making a return. The big fan from South Korea that made the big splash. And the Royals are superstitious. ESPN is bringing him in to do a 30 by 30 story on him, and they know their winning started this summer when he came and visited.
Glen dropping the hat on the San Francisco treat because they dropped Royals by Lord out in San Francisco. Of course, that song inspired by Lord, seeing a picture of George Brett signing some autographs, saw the Royals on his shirt, and that's what led to the song. Kansas City Royals starting out the World Series. We'll see how that goes as Sports Illustrated has them as slight favorites to win it all. For Glen Grunwald, I am Daren Dunn. We'll catch you next time on HutchPost.com and your Eagle Communications Sports Update.